Starling Marte is taking up $20 million of your payroll. Don't you want to, like, I don't know, get a bat like Anthony Santander with part of that $20 million off of your payroll? I would like to do that. Now, of course, like we said, with the Mets dabbling in the outfield /DH/bat market, in addition to possibly bringing back Pete Alonso or the Bregman rumors, we talked about other guys in this outfield market, and that kind of points to Anthony Santander. Andrew made a point earlier saying that he's starting to get interest on short-term deals with high AAV. At face value, maybe it does not look like a complete hitter. Maybe it does not look like a great hitter. But overall, as someone with the approach that he does have of hitting your way on, I think that it's definitely protected well in this lineup, especially if you have somebody like Nimmo batting behind him. And even, to be honest, to a certain extent, Jeff McNeil, even if you do have him batting behind there. Obviously, I don't want Jeff McNeil here, but again, the bottom part of the lineup probably could protect him a little bit in regards to that, especially from the top with Juan Soto, who has eyes of a robot. Now, when it comes to Anthony Santander, he's coming off of a career year. 44 home runs, 102 runs batted in, 129 weighted runs created plus, OPS over 800, and he's definitely going to get paid on this market. After seeing what Teoscar Hernandez got after a great year, Anthony Santander is a little bit younger. When you look at the overall batted ball data from him, it's well above average. He hits the ball hard. He pulls fly balls. He actually hits the ball on the ground less than any hitter in all of baseball. That's including guys like Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, guys like that. So when he pulls the ball a lot from both sides, he's a switch hitter. He can have that type of power. I'd say that is definitely something that can benefit the middle of your lineup in a team like the Mets. Now, from the left-handed side, which I think is why he is a perfect fit, again, from the left side, he gives you a lot more prolific power compared to the right side. With the right side, and I know a lot of people talk about him with runners on base, and they talk about him situationally and how his on-base percentage is too low. When it comes to him overall as a right-handed hitter, definitely better situationally than a left-handed hitter. Left-handed hitter, he gives you more power. Right-handed hitter, he's a little bit more situationally in that regard. Obviously, he doesn't hit for as much average as a right-handed hitter, but it seems like he's a little bit more disciplined, walking a little bit more. Now, when it comes to the overall on-base percentage, which I know is a concern from a lot of Mets fans, Easy saying his on-base percentage is not good, listing out what he has done. Listen, overall, when it comes to on-base percentage, that's pretty much average. Over 300 is average these days. He's a little bit above average in terms of overall on-base percentage. 8.7 walk rate, strikes out less than 20% last year. He never really has struck out that much. He hits his way on. He ain't Javi Baez, all right? Let's relax, everyone. He ain't Javi Baez. He's not just going to be swinging at anything. So when you come to a guy like Anthony Santander, yes, he does chase a decent amount, and it is a little bit concerning. Let's just say that. But when it comes to the overall look of what he needs, or maybe of what this team needs, or maybe protecting him in this lineup compared to maybe an Orioles lineup that, they have young hitters there, even though they have developed hitters well, they have young hitters and they are going to chase. You have a lot of guys on this Mets team that can take a lot of pitches. You have a lot of guys who can give you competitive ABs. So a guy like Anthony Santander, he can hit his way on and definitely produce in that way. Do I believe that he will hit 44 home runs if he were to sign with the Mets every single season? No. But another guy there, with Soto there, Lindor there, whether it is Alonso or not, one thing I will say, easily, he is giving you 25 to 30 home runs, which he has been able to do for these last 3 years. I know 2023, he hit 29 home runs, 28 in the regular season, 1 in the postseason. Sorry, but 30-plus home runs the last 3 seasons at pace. He's always healthy as well. He's been healthy. You never know, but he's been healthy as well. I think it's a perfect fit. But a secondary guy behind, let's say, bringing back somebody like Pete Alonso, and I don't really wrap my head around that much of the low OBP from a guy like Anthony Santander, who swings at a lot of strikes and hits the ball hard, overall maximizes his power by pulling fly balls. And when you talk about, the overall situations he's made for this big stage overall in his career, almost an 800 OPS in high leverage situations, 41 extra base hits, 27 home runs. We know that he puts on a big show in the World Baseball Classic. I have been wanting Santander on my team for, let's say, 4 or 5 years. We love Anthony Santander, some of us more than others. Guilty. I think this is a perfect 5-hole hitter for you. And I think that if he's willing to take more closer to the DH money or the shorter term deal, this is a no-brainer for me. Might think Bregman, he's a World Series champion. He played for the Astros, and he's got average. Great. Anthony Santander is a perfect fit. I'm sorry, it has been a perfect fit to the Mets lineup for a long time.
It's a perfect DH. I know we saw some people talking in the chat of, oh, he's just Kyle Schwarber. I mean, Kyle Schwarber's a good damn ball player. I don't care. He hits, he hit for better average this year, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, he got out of those 205.
Yeah.
4 years,
before
$79 million.
Before you continue, Andrew, let's stop using Kyle Schwarber as an insult, okay? That is not something that is used as an insult. You can use good Joey Gallo.
I love it. Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about you. Exactly. I'm talking about guys in the chat, Mets fans. Stop using Kyle Schwarber as an insult, okay? Just because he plays for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber is one of the best postseason hitters of all time, and his approach is something that you should aspire to have. Obviously, maybe a little bit more hitting for average, maybe getting on base a little bit more, but he also walks a lot. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Schwarber's slander. And let me tell you right now, if they end up not getting Anthony Santander and Schwarber becomes a free agent, if they don't extend him there in Philly,
next year, we're pushing that narrative.
To add him. Okay? Yep. So I don't want to hear it. I will get even more toxic with Kyle Schwarber if they don't get Anthony Santander. Andrew, continue. Go ahead.
Schwarber signed at 29. Tony Taters is 30. So, again, you're getting... And again, if you need him to, you could stick him in left field. Yes, you got Brandon Nimmo, but again, with Brandon Nimmo's plantar fasciitis, weird feet, giving him more days off throughout the year, you could stick Tony in left and just be all right. You got 2 absolute butchers. You're going to have to score 8 runs anyway. He can hit a 3-run homer later in the game. We don't care about the defense. And again, what have we been talking about ever since the damn DH was put in? It's a position for dudes that hit fat nukes. This dude hits fat nukes. I don't care about the 300 on base. Hit 30 homers. I don't care. And again, it would loosen up the roster. Marte, if he's got to be here, it's 1 more year and he's going after this year. The decrepit gerbil, whatever, we'll figure that out. But then at least if you can get rid of those 2 guys, you open up the roster spots for the youth. If it's Mauricio, Acuna, Jet, Brett Beatty for some reason still here. He may be here. Who knows? But at least it opens up the 26-man roster and stop carrying 2 people for 1 spot. And the fact, like you said, switch hitter. Yeah. You could put fight on both sides. It would eliminate all of the clutter. I can't say the other word because, God forbid, we started a riot last week. So I'll just say fluff because, God forbid, I can't say the other word.
Blubber
of this roster. It fills too many holes. And again, we get our version of Kyle Schwarber. Oh, he doesn't walk. Who really cares? He's still going to hit you 35 homers. And unlike...
He walks a decent amount.
And yes, and here you go. Now I'm going to open back the wound up. Unlike that fluffy guy, Anthony Santander hits his homers when your team needs it. Not, well, it's 9-2, and there's another polar bear bomb. No, Santander does it when you need, and not just, off Devin, he got one off Devin Williams. We will praise his name for that. But everything else, when you need him to hit the big shot, he doesn't hit the big shot. Tony Taters hits those big shots.
When it comes to how it can be protected in the lineup, I think it can be. And maybe I am wrong, but I think that the Mets have a lot of guys that don't chase, that they can have guys who hit their way on and swing at strikes. Again, I think that when it comes to the overall combination of what free agent bat duo that you prefer. I asked you guys in the chat, and I will direct this right to Frank. Obviously, I think I know what his answer is, but again, of looking at it from all of these different combinations, because I know that Frank likes to be a little bit more articulated in that way. I asked everyone, what duo would you prefer? Free agent bats, and it had to do with 3 players, so basically like a rock, paper, scissors type of thing of 3 combinations. Alonso first base, Bregman third base. 44% of you want that. 27% of you are saying Alonso first base, Santander DH. 24% of you are saying Bregman third base, Santander DH. And then 5% of you are saying, I want none of the 3 whatsoever. Or maybe you just want one of them out of the 3. Number 2, Alonso at first, Santander at DH. That is what I am going with. But again, Bregman won 2 championships and he is so fucking magical. And we need an all-star team.
There's a lot of different ways that they could go with this. I feel like with Santander, I mean, the way I look at it is also like, what are the contracts? Because I feel like that's something else that's also relevant when we talk about how that affects maybe a pursuit of a starting pitcher at the deadline, maybe some bullpen help, or just other future moves that you want to do. Maybe extending some of your guys to long-term deals. Mark Vientos comes to mind, and players like that. So how does the decisions that you make now impact your future financially? So for me, how is Santander marketing himself? Is he marketing himself as a corner outfielder, or is he marketing himself as a designated hitter? That's a big piece, first of all, because those are 2 totally different markets. I mean, because corner outfielders, listen, I know it's an extreme, but the Mets did sign a corner outfielder for 15 years, $765 million. Now, Santander is not Juan Soto, but corner outfielders can get a lot of money. It's something that does happen in Major League Baseball. Now with DHs, people are a little more like, it's more reasonable, I would say. I mean, it's kind of tough. The only comparisons I really can make is like Castellanos and Schwarber. But even then, those guys they got signed and started in the outfield, and then like Schwarber moved to DH once they figured out that like this is just not gonna work. This is too much all over the place. So they had to kind of figure it out. So it's something that doesn't really happen too often. But I know what third basemen get, and they get a lot of money. And I've said it before, but like, I just don't think Bregman is that guy anymore. It's kind of talking about Marte, like, sure, like 2019 cheating Bregman, like 8 WAR, 9 WAR, of course. He's not that guy anymore. He's like half of that player at this point in his career, and now going past age 30. And you know that Bregman wants like 5 to 6 years. He's just not that guy offensively. So I don't think that's a great move. I feel like right now we want to look more so specifically at DH. I'll see what happens with Vientos. I'll let him develop it and all that. But, the way I see it, I would like to keep Pete. I mean, again, I'd like to keep him, but I don't have to keep him. I don't have to do anything too crazy because that's a different market. The first base market. Guys don't make all that much money. You don't see a $300 million first baseman. It has not happened yet. So, that's a whole different situation. Like third baseman get more than first baseman. So that's another thing to consider. And again, I know what Alonso is as a Met. I have no idea what Bregman is as a Met. I have no idea what Bregman is as a non-Astro, not playing, and like I said, a very hitter-friendly ballpark in Houston. So I don't know how that goes. But I feel like with Santander, as far as we talk about like the fit that this Mets team needs, a switch hitter that hits 44 home runs is a lot better of a fit than another right-handed hitter in Alex Bregman hitting 26 home runs. And you want to look at but the batting average, but even Bregman's OBP 315. Why is nobody complaining about that? We're so quick to talk about Santander's on-base percentage, but Bregman at 315
he's poised. He's a poised hitter. He knows exactly what he's doing. Maybe because he knew it was coming from 2017 to 2019.
That's a very good point. So, 313 is not something to write home about. He's a guy OPS under 800. Santander was over 800. So, I don't really understand where that's coming from. So, I definitely think that, when it comes down to it, we talk about what this team needs. I said the switch hitter, more of a power hitter. That definitely is something that intrigues me a lot more.
I just can't get on it. Like, I just can't get on the Alex Bregman thing. I've already expressed, when you're talking about the DH type of thing where the Phillies signed Schwarber and Castellanos. I'm hoping that the market kind of dies down a little bit with Santander, where he becomes to market himself as a DH, as to where he takes one of these short-term deals. Maybe he does. Maybe it's 3 years or 4 years. I think that, again, it all really has to do with the fit. Bregman, I don't think, is a good fit in regards to that. But when it comes to the overall of the Mets looking at, a fit in their lineup, you also can see it from the perspective of the Phillies, because a lot of people don't really talk about the Phillies in what their thought was in bringing in guys like Schwarber and Castellanos. And it has kind of worked. They've been contenders for multiple years now. They have gone back a little bit because they've gotten a little older. But again, when it comes to the overall Phillies right now, it makes sense. It was a good fit for them with Castellanos and Harper there, of course, being the left-handed bat that he is, because yes, defense is something that is, not the strong suit of that Phillies team. And they definitely filled that in as they kept going along. But when it comes to the overall of Alex Bregman and, all these other pieces, Alex Bregman fits really well in that Astros lineup. It's a very hitter-friendly ballpark for Alex Bregman, where he can just pull fly balls over the left field Crawford boxes or whatever you're looking at. When it comes to guys like Schwarber and Castellanos, defense for them, CBP is a small ballpark. There's not really that much ground to cover if they're playing defense either way. Not to mention them being home run hitters and Philly being this big home run hitters park. So when it comes to the overall of Citi Field, which is known as more of a pitcher's park and more of a pull hitter's park, you need those pull hitters that have a little bit more raw power tools. Anthony Santander has that. Pete Alonso has that. He's been doing that for the last 6 years here. Guys like Alex Bregman, I don't know if he does have that. And I'm not willing to give him 6 years to possibly find out. I'm not willing to give him $200 million to find out. Yes, Anthony Santander, when it comes to the overall ballpark in Baltimore, I know that they've changed the dimensions there.
Yeah, they made it harder.
Yeah, they made
it more difficult.
For right-handed hitters, right? For right-handed hitters.
He's a switch hitter.
Yeah, true.
And the Mets moved
Again,
their
it's
field
a paradise
in
for left-handed
to help
bats
left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
It is kind of a paradise for left-handed bats, but overall, like.
And how's Houston for right-handed hitters?
I'm talking about it.
How's that matchup?
With right-handed hitters
for Houston.
With Houston, that's a right-handed hitter's bandbox. Like that's basically just like poking things over the wall. But again, I'm not trying to say that all park factors are something that ruins and takes away careers. But when you're also looking at the Orioles ballpark, the overall park factors of what you can see, if you want to look at it from just like strictly StatCast at face value, let's say they're not a hitter's ballpark. They are 19th in overall offensive production and elevation and park factors. And that's just since 2022. Obviously, they're bringing in the wall a little bit more again. But overall, when it comes to a guy like Anthony Santander, I think that his type of hitting talents are easy to protect in this lineup. When it comes to a guy like Alex Bregman, I don't like him at, in regards to third base, because I don't think he has a great arm compared to somebody like Brientos.
They're the same age. Actually, all three of these guys are the same age between Alonso, Santander, and Bregman. And it's like with Bregman and Alonso, we've actually seen declines, whereas with Santander, that hasn't happened yet. If anything,
No.
4 to 4 home runs is improvement.
In regards to the age, we were talking about the age with Alonso last week. And I feel like it was being misconstrued in that, where we're like, okay, once a guy turns 30, his career's done. No, we don't think that. That's not what we're saying.
Done, but
we're talking about the trajectory of their career.
There is a steady
of what you can
decline.
project
And
forward.
then, for me, once the guy hits 35, then it's like a big decline, and then it's just all downhill from
Not
there.
everyone can be
JD
Joey
Martinez.
Votto.
We're seeing
Not
it now
everyone
with
can be
Starling
Joey
Marte.
Votto.
I mean, Joey Votto.
No one can be
is
Joey
my
Votto. Again,
he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Hall of Famers may surpass that and be in Citizens Bank. I mean, that helps a little bit too. We're talking about
that
ballparks.
does. Yeah.
But I mean, and he's just a special hitter, especially in today's game. He's an old school guy. But overall, like that's just how it goes with most players. Like you hit your peak years are like 29, 28, 29, 30.
Yeah.
And then
And that's
past
typically,
30,
again,
there's that steady decline. I mean, that's you just look
again,
at,
like I said
everybody.
at the top of the show, typically that's what we're looking at. Age 30, usually we talk about the next trajectory of your career, of, you know, from the where the peak is, what can he project to do that. There's anomalies too. We know that JD Martinez has been good in his advanced age.
Now
We're
with the
talking
Mets,
about this
did it
in
with
the
the Dodgers.
yeah, in the efficient way. Like I said, not every single time age is a 100% factor, but overall in the efficient way, 3 times out of 10, if you want to talk about it in batting average sense, 3 times out of 10 is a good hitter. So you're looking at this in an efficient way, projecting in an efficient way, not being completely perfect, because who knows? Maybe Santander comes here and he's terrible. Who knows? But 3 times out of 10, is it a good fit? Ramirez coming in here saying Bregman makes the team more stable. I think he does on paper, but I feel like going forward, it's just not the best investment in my opinion. It's something that you need to look at as a fit for the roster, or a fit for the lineup, or a fit on the team. To me, again, with this whole Bregman nonsense, even on a short-term deal, I still would not take him personally. I still would not do it, because I do believe in the young guys such as Mark Vientos, and Mark Vientos has earned his right to be the third baseman on opening day for this team.